Scarlet being the only Protoss, but we were expecting there to be no Protoss today. But oh no, first match was PvP, so yeah, getting that nice variety here. And I don't know, going into this match, what are you thinking here, Fair Dragon? We do have Jig versus MaSa, and if anything, I always like to favor MaSa in a TVZ matchup, but I don't know how many times I've seen him play against Jig in a tournament game.
It has been a little while since I've actually seen too much of Jig's play. Like I've seen Jig's play here and there, but I'll talk about that in a second because we're gonna be starting down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, top of the blue Terran player. Give it up for the one and only OSC Elite's MaSa.
Ooh,
Elite. This guy's been on fire lately.
He really has been. But in the top left-hand corner, representing Root Gaming, it is Jig. Red Zerg player who apparently, according to Joe, likes to make lings.
Yeah, Jig is a funny character because he used to actually be this very, very cheesy Zerg, like one of the cheesy North American Zerg players out there. But recently, and I used to have that kind of perception of him even until like 3-4 months ago. And it wasn't until Jig finally just kind of corrected me. It's like, I don't actually all in anymore. That's like a really outdated perspective of the way I play. And
okay.
I have to say, like, I've been watching him and paying a lot more attention to the games that I do get to see of him since then. And he does actually play some pretty good macro games. I think he is actually a pretty macro-oriented player lately.
Okay. Well, we'll find out, I mean, it's good to have that at your arsenal too, the all-in capability, but practicing macro a bit more might be, a bit scarier. And especially when you start off with the pool first, like he did here in this game. I really like that style because you do put the fear into the Terran opponent, especially if he's going to be thinking aggressive for the whole time. You don't have to get too aggressive with this, but it allows you to take control of the game incredibly fast. And yeah, if you throw MaSa off his game, it can kind of mess up with the way that he likes to hit you with like the 1-2 and then the, haymaker straight to the face to shut you down.
That's a good way of putting it also. MaSa is just that in-your-face kind of guy. He's always about just putting on some form of pressure and throwing you off your game. And this guy has just been on such a ridiculous tear lately. I mean, winning the WCS Valencia qualifier, doing well at Valencia, I believe, as well, like doing well in a bunch of different things, and recently even qualifying for WCS Montreal and beating a bunch of really good players, like getting third place and even beating Scarlet. Like,
yep, and then winning ridiculous form. You won Cheesadelphia, like another LAN event too.
The BYOC at WCS, or not WCS Atlanta, but just DreamHack Atlanta. You won the BYOC over some good players as well.
Yeah, I feel like MaSa, if there's any time for him to really make a name for himself and even take a WCS LAN event, this could be it. So, well, obviously, King of the North, not a WCS, but you know what I mean. Leading up until Montreal and everything else. Whoa.
Man, Jig had such a cool idea there with the split up on the Lings. He's trying to get that one SCV, trying to delay the command center. He does delay the command center by a little bit, but trying to get the kill on that SCV, he tries to split up his Lings and bait the SCV back in the direction that the second Ling was coming. But
yeah,
doesn't quite get it. MaSa's on top of it and keeps it alive. We are going to have a short little pause. Stuff gets figured out.
But I did want to note too that MaSa, even though he didn't make a Marine after the Reaper, he swapped out those SCVs really fast. So it wasn't even like his command center got delayed by that much. So that was a really nice little touch to it. Didn't even lose that SCV that got so low.
Yeah, and when you go for that pool first, it is an economic investment. It's not a huge economic investment. It's not like he's super far behind by any means. But Jig did really want to get something done. He really wanted to try and do something to get value out of that.
Game resumed.
Indeed. I was hoping for it. I mean, you make 2 lanes as 50 minerals. You hope to at least get the SCV, and any kind of delay on the command center is just great. But MaSa definitely dealt with that a lot. Pool first. And even though he wasn't he didn't panic either. That was a really, really nice touch. And now he has his Hellions out, and MaSa with his Hellions can be pretty scary, but Jig definitely hip to how MaSa plays, immediately dropping down that Roach Warren.
Yeah, not taking any risks. I know MaSa is very well very much familiar with the Hellbat all-in variations you can do with this kind of opening.
Yeah,
he's very skilled at them as well. So like you said, Jig is really showing a lot of respect to this, saying, I'm not cutting any or taking any chances with this. He's actually going for a drop Overlord as well. So he's going to drop a few lings into the main base of MaSa, potentially catch MaSa off guard. But it's really surprisingly, MaSa retreated home with a lot of his Hellions. So he's going to have some defenses at home.
Yeah, I think he realized something here. He even rallied up that barracks to the bottom left-hand corner of his base. And just with the Hellions, he should be all ready to go. Marine might get taken out a little. That was cool.
Overlord drop micro. Holy cow. Yep. The Viking is going to be causing some problems with this, though. It seems like Jig may have to just unload those lings and kind of cut his losses, try and get something done with them as he splits them up, trying to go after these Hellions, trying to go after the SIVs. There was that weakened SIV earlier.
Yeah, wasn't able to get it. Really close, but no workers are killed. So he loses a decent amount of lings as well as an Overlord. And I believe at least, I mean, you know, if you're going to give Jig some kind of prize here, it's that he was able to see that it was a Cloak Banshee, or at least it was a starport with the Tech Lab researching. So getting the Spore Crawlers at home and 3 additional Queens, definitely a nice little response here. But it does kind of stink that he wasn't able to get any damage.
A little bit unfortunate for Jig, because I just feel as though MaSa is generally a pretty aggressive player, but he's actually just been able to defend against Jig's forms of aggression so far without really even committing very heavily to the aggression. It's just going to be this light form of Hellion pressure early on, following it up into the Cloak Banshee, which again isn't that big of an investment as long as you get some damage done and some map control. And he takes a pretty quick third command center behind this. He's setting himself up for a good late game.
Oh, yeah. MaSa, when she gets on those 3 bases. Another thing you know about MaSa is that he loves his double Banshee play. I don't know how many he's going to go up to, but it looks like he stops at 2. And the thing about MaSa is that he'll go with those 2 Banshees. He'll wait until they're together. And even if you have a Spore Crawler and Queens, he just goes in, picks off a drone, picks off another drone. And you can get an upwards of 8 kills with them, depending on how well you are at defending them. So we'll see them meet up here. And it looks like they're going to be heading over to right where that Spore Crawler is. Really nicely placed by Jig.
Ooh, yeah, gonna be able to get off a handful of shots. This may not seem like a huge deal because the Banshee gets out of there, but it's half health Banshee now. It's a big target for later on. Banshee's trying to find some damage with the Queens actually coming in from the backside as well. No, they don't quite have detection that far north, so they end up giving up the chase, and Banshees make their way to the main base, so maybe looking to get a little bit more damage done now. Yep,
there's only 1 Queen in the Spore, and the fact that that Spore Crawler was there for Jig is even more important because it alerted him. So if you get surprised by these Cloak Banshees coming in, that's, 8 drones instead of the 3. As we saw, MaSa, he tried to cloak before he hit the creep, but he just didn't know that there was going to be a Spore there. So Jig definitely a bit aware of how MaSa likes to play. And we'll see if the fact that he was able to get his 1-1, not take any damage to MaSa early on, aside from a few Overlords and a couple of drones, and then that Queen that was in the main. I think, setting up for this macro game is going to be Jig's best bet.
Yeah, both of these players just doing a really good job defensively, not taking too much damage. But this is going to be the kind of first big notable attack that's not just harassment. It's looking to get some real damage done. MaSa moving out across the map now, also making a couple of Hellbats since that armory's finished up for that +2/+2. The Marine's going to be here and waiting for the Medivacs so he can stim his way in and get tons of damage done versus a very unprepared Jig.
Yeah, Jig is not prepared. He doesn't have any Banelings made just yet. He has 4, but they don't have speed. Yeah. MaSa's already here, and I guess his goal is just to take out the 4th base. That's just all he wants to do
over here. But okay, where is the target fire from MaSa? He's trying to stim out of the way of these Banelings, but he's going to end up losing a majority of these Marines. The Hellbats also going to be left on their own, get cleaned up by the Banelings as well as those Queens. And Jig has a very solid hold, coming in with all the units he needed at the end.
Oh, that was really nicely done. I thought that he wasn't going to be ready for it. MaSa kind of panicked and tried to get out of there, but no, he was just pretty much
actually as well.
Yeah,
all the units were immediately in the orange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you saw him lift up there. He only had 1 medevac, or maybe there was another one there, but definitely wasn't with the initial push. But I don't think this 4th is going down anytime soon. And a very interesting touch for Jig is that instead of opting to go for Hydra Bane or Muta Bane, he's going to be going right into Hive and also add in these Infestors. So we might see just incredibly fast ultras coming out of Jig.
And I love the fact that he's getting a pathogen gland, something that a lot of Zerg players oftentimes neglect, saying, no, it's too big of an investment. I just want 1 or 2 infestors to stay alive. But Jig is okay with sticking around and getting on more than just 1 or 2 infestors and having some that are immediately useful. But actually, you know, I say that he didn't actually get out any of the infestors. He got a pathogen glands, but it seems like he's maybe just investing all of his gas, or at least was investing all of his gas into those banelings earlier on.
Yeah, this is a big deal, though. He invested in Pathogen, didn't make the Infestors to take advantage of it, and he also is trying to get up to Hive. So if he starts getting Hive upgrades during this push that MaSa is about to be hitting him with, this could be his downfall.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
This is actually looking really, really dicey right now for Jay, because it's not just that MaSa's taking really good trades or anything. MaSa's just kind of out macroing Jay, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that supply, it's insane out of MaSa. It is 2-2 versus 2-2, so there's no upgrade advantage for either of them. And Jig, he thought that he had enough in order to try to clean it up, but those 2 tanks are positioned so perfectly with 14 kills, 18 on the other one. It is just too good of a position here, and MaSa going to do a really nice engagement, even cleaning up some of the creep, and I don't think Jig has enough to fight this, man.
Yeah, those tanks, holy cow, between them almost 45 kills apiece, or 45 kills together, and MaSa takes game number 1.
Wow. Yeah, perfectly timed push, and Jig just might have been investing into too much at the same time. That's just basically what it was there, and he just got kind of blindsided. Yeah. Just hoping MaSa.
You can feel how much of a difference it would have made if, let's say, even Burrow wasn't there, even if he didn't catch MaSa totally off guard or by surprise, if just the infestor, 1 or 2 infestors were there with enough energy for fungal, that actually makes that defense look very different, because suddenly the Marines are taking damage, they're dying in 1 hit to the banelings, and the tanks can be like pounced on. It really does look like a very different engagement if you can actually get those infestors out. But I do agree, Jig playing a little bit greedy there, and MaSa just able to overpower him.
Yeah, I think he was just expecting that push to not come because he dealt so well with the first one. So he was like, all right, I dealt really well. I can be a little bit greedier, get pathogen glands, even get up to Hive. And at the end of that game, we might have even seen adrenal glands. I know I saw +3, whether it was Carapace or Melee with Jig, but it's tough against an aggressive Terran player to tech up there without taking a very favorable engagement and already having a macro lead in the beginning. So, yeah, the early third from MaSa definitely paid off for that timing.
Absolutely. His macro was just really on point. We're going to get ready to hop into game number 2. It'll be on Interloper, which is also a kind of fun little map to see this particular game go to.
Oh, yeah, you can do some fun tank shenanigans here, too. And then medevac. Yeah.
That tank positioning in that last game was already pretty damn nice.
I haven't really seen that much.
Yeah. And Ascension to Ire isn't exactly like a super new map either, so
no,
kind of surprising. But
here we go.
Interloper, game number 2. Remember that every single game matters, so it's not just about winning the series in this kind of Swiss format style matchup or series in the early rounds for this. It's very much about just taking every single game you can, because every point matters. It's about points that you accumulate, and you get a point for every game win, not every series win.
Indeed. So I think, Jig not going to just be like, okay, I can't beat MaSa, at least try to take one. I don't even think he got annihilated by any means. He dealt really well, but let's find out. Right here we are on Interloper, a bit of a different kind of map, where we see the same kind of shenanigans out of this guy in the top left-hand corner, sorry. It is, did you say OSC Elite recently? MaSa.
Yeah. And its opponents spawn down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. We have Root Gaming's very own Jig. Actually, formerly MaSa's old team.
Yeah.
For a while ago. He was on Elevates after Root. Then kind of departed right around the time of Cheesadelphia, and then immediately afterwards, or like very soon afterwards, ended up taking opportunity at OSC Elite, the new OSC team that came out.
I like it. I can dig it.
Okay,
All
we
right.
got a pool first once again from Jig. He almost managed to make this kind of worth it last game by delaying the command center. And if you've been able to get the SEV kill, I think that's where you feel okay about it. It's
You
like
feel
killing
great,
off,
yeah.
you killed off like what is that? Almost like a 15th or like something of your opponent's economy. Kind of makes up for the pool first.
Exactly. I wish. Well, I shouldn't say I wish that SEV died, but it's like I do. You know, it's one of those.
Zerg comes out.
The Zerg definitely came out there because I mean, when you don't get that SEV kill, you kind of feel bad about it, especially because you weren't able to delay the command center for that long. MaSa handled that perfectly, and we can see that Jig is going to be going for a very similar style. He didn't go for gas pool; it was pool into gas and then the hatchery. So he really, really wants to get this Ling cancel, or at least a delay. But I think after that last game, MaSa might be a little bit more careful, especially with this Marine coming out secondly before the reactor or the factory.
Okay, well, Lings are going to come around, and here we go. Going to find a nice little opportunity here. There's one Marine. One Marine is not enough to actually contend with these two Lings if they're microed well. Already delaying that command center by a little bit. The Reaper on the other side of the map has to pull back because it's pretty APM intensive to try and micro a single Marine versus the Lings, but Ling actually tries to get a little bit over eager, gets a little over aggressive, and ends up falling to the single Marine.
Yeah, MaSa handles it perfectly again, and he has that Reaper that can get the scout. There's a Roach Warren that has been made. MaSa, oh man.
He hasn't seen it.
Nope. And he's going into factory with the reactor, so if this is going to be traditional MaSa with the Hellions, this can be really sick. I think speed even got skipped.
Oh man, and not only that, but MaSa, the other thing that MaSa could have seen is the saturation of the natural really lacking, the fact that drones aren't being made. And he doesn't see that either. The roaches aren't even going to be scouted until they make their way all the way across the map, potentially.
Oh, this is so sick out of Jig. Even moving the queen out, making it look like he wants to take that third immediately. We all know that he doesn't need to make a few more drones before that's going to really have... Well, he's just going to go for it, it looks like. I think he's making it look like that, too. But MaSa, he's up to something. Man. He sniffs something. He's like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Oh, he's sending his Hellions out, and he's run straight past the roaches. Oh, okay.
There's no wall.
Do you think that you wait around and try and make any Ravagers here?
I mean, he's just going to go for it. We saw Jig droning behind it, too, so this is not some kind of Ravager all in. I think he just wanted to make what he was going to make and throw MaSa off, expecting Hellions to come out.
Oh, be careful with the grenades. You can knock your opponent's roaches over the wall in if you're not careful.
Yep. I learned that when I played Terran a couple times.
Oh, you know, the Banshee will come out and should be able to actually clean this up. And Jig did, he delayed his third for a while. I guess he is getting up one pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's about halfway done.
Did this do enough damage?
How many roaches did he make again? It was, he lost one and he
lost
has...
one and made 4.
So he made 5, right? Wow, we're good at math, yo. Teamwork, let's go.
4 plus 1.
Yep, 41. I don't know.
41?
I think the more damage that was done was the fact that 2 Cyclones had to be made. It was a panic move from MaSa. He made the 2 Cyclones, and then he also kept his Banshee at home. So, hey, if this Hellion and Reaper combo can do something, that would be nice.
Already killing off 1 worker. Might be able to kill off 3. Oh, okay, going for a 4th. Reaper will probably end up falling. But even, oh my god, are you... Okay, he gets picked off by the Queen popping out, but... Man, that Reaper getting some serious value. And again, getting that additional scout out as well. Yeah,
I mean, 7 drones have fallen already here for Jig. So that's pretty insane, despite it looking like it was more defensive. So yeah, I think MaSa can feel pretty good about that. He has his, not a third command center just done. That's about quarter of the way. The Banshees are going to go in pairs once again. Buddy system. Never fly alone.
And it's worked out well for him so far. Even kept those Banshees alive for a very long time in the last game.
Yeah.
I think they were actually added into some of the later push-ins once the medevacs started popping out. But you can notice that Jig is really not where he wants to be economically. He's got the double evolution chambers up a while ago, but hasn't actually had an opportunity to research anything from them. His economy is just like in a really weird place where I think he doesn't even have a good sense of where it is. No,
he's trying to get this saturation, but the Banshees are messing around with him. And MaSa is trying to scout right now to see if it is going to be a Ravager-based style He's gonna get a few kills again. Look at this, 5. Yeah, it wasn't 5 additional ones, but it was at least. Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah, it was 5 additional ones, man.
Drop Overlord, by the way, in the top side of the map, going to be coming in with 4 roaches into MaSa's main base.
Oh, that's a good way to make use of these roaches because they're not going to really do too much unless you're going to keep them home for Ravagers in order to deal with the Liberator or something like that. And this is just an awkward timing for a drop. Like, MaSa would not expect that. And what else are you going to do with these guys?
Yeah, gonna force a lot of these Marines to come back home inside the main base. The Banshee does come all the way back home to help try and clean it up, but even forcing a couple of these SCVs off of mining, killing off 3 workers, has already been able to actually do some pretty nice damage to MaSa as a kind of counterbalancing any damage he took to those Banshees already.
Whoa, but MaSa getting use out of the Cyclones that he made earlier. I thought he wasn't gonna get any value out of that. And they have 5 kills. Another one has 4. MaSa with the sick micro.
Okay.
And now he gets them both out.
Beautifully done. I mean, if there's one thing you can count on MaSa for, it's usually just good micro, but well, it might even be able to kill an Overlord off if these Lings don't respond quick enough. Cyclones don't do a lot of damage, but they are getting that Overlord down, and he's going to be able to get it.
Oh my god, MaSa. Almost supply blocking. No, I was looking at MaSa supply, but that was actually really good. Just a little pick off, and Jig is only up by 4 workers.
Yeah, MaSa is just really good at finding opportunities to trade APM for just concrete damage. That's just, I would say it's one of his big specialties. But now Jig is getting up into that point in the game where he's actually got up. It's not an amazing working out, a 59 for a Zerg player on 4 bases now, but he's got up a decent number of workers. He's gutting up Baneling speed. He's getting up the tech. The big question is it going to be able to hold off against the big push coming in from MaSa later on in the game? Because once again, similar to the last game, MaSa's just kind of climbing ahead in supply. Yeah, and that's going to happen here as his 3rd base starts to get muled. If Jig can realize that it is going to be tanked, then he's going to be happy that he's going Ling Bane. But I don't know what he wants to do. You know, I wasn't sure what Jig's preferred way of playing is. So whether he decides to go into the Spire or the Hydra, I think the Spire might be the better choice because they tend to do a little bit better against the tank-based style. Hydras, they can be good if you get a good spread and they attack into you on your on-creep, but wow. Baneling drop in the natural gets 8 worker kills. Whoa. Really solid. And a lot of those SCVs also very low in health. If MaSa doesn't actually do anything about that, that is going to be an opportunity later for a Ling run by. But, oh man, the Marines and the medevacs getting surrounded. Looks like MaSa's going to be able to get out of there alive, barely with one of those medevacs. Very low in health, but still just trying to keep Jig at home. And we got a few Lings set up to be dropped back into that natural. Those SCVs never get repaired up. Oh, there's a medevac actually healing him up. This is going to make it a lot easier.
Yo, MaSa, really though? That's actually a really smart move there. It doesn't have to waste repair. Because if you use repair, then you're going to waste resources, and you're also going to be losing mining time. So, yeah, MaSa just has one of his medevacs hang out there, and these 4 Lings or so aren't going to be able to do anything. Now, we still have... Okay, look, he's going for the Infestation Pit again. So, the question is he going to try the same thing that he did last time? Because if he does, I do
buying time, right? It can work, but he needs to buy enough time before MaSa decides like it's time to push out. And MaSa pushed out around 170 or 180 supply last time. He's at 162. There really isn't going to be that much more time before MaSa theoretically is going to want to move across the map.
Yeah, I think the difference when you see somebody like even BioEyes play is that he'll be going for these run-bys in order to buy this time. I don't think Jig realized it the last time, so, oh, man. Oh, pretty big deal here. But MaSa, he's going to get a drop in the bottom left-hand corner. This 4th base is going to be in a lot of trouble if these Lings don't get here in time. Nothing to check the medevacs.
I don't actually... Okay, well, he is... Okay, he's not actually target firing down the hatchery. He's not getting into the choke point at the mineral line. Because he's pushing across the map with the rest of his army. This is
There was another drop. There was another Baneling drop, I believe, that got about another, like, 12 SCVs. Now, this is the scariest spot as a Zerg. He doesn't have the creep spread far enough out that he can get a really good flank, I don't think. But, hey, if MaSa wastes a lot of time here, this could be pretty good for Jig.
Oh, the Lings are trying to wrap around from the backside. This actually does get a little bit weird when it comes to those rocks. If they get knocked down, it could separate off either one of the players from the rest of their armies. But these siege tanks really whittling away at that Baneling count.
All right, here we go. Jay going for the flank on the tanks, but there's a lot of Marines covering it. But here come the Banelings. Oh, they're going to obliterate all of the Marines.
A massive cleanup right now for Jig, something he definitely needed. One Siege Tank is actually going to be able to reign supreme at the end of the day, but a few more Lings going to come in. MaSa should probably unsiege that Siege Tank and get out of there, but no, the Medivacs.
He's focused on the fourth. Idly. Yeah, the fourth base is under attack. It's going to go down, and MaSa gets what he wanted to get done before. But at what cost? He lost a lot of his bio there.
Oh, might even be able to kill off these infestor eggs that are coming out. There's only 3 infestors on the way, and 2 of them are popping out this location. Guess what is not researched this game? Pathogen glands.
Yep. So even if they do get out, they're just going to get taken out. So it's probably better that those infestors died there in the egg form. So he at least got that refund. But MaSa now has the control. He's taken a 4th base. He's getting his 3-3. But Jig has done something impressive too, and that is survive until Hive. So
yeah. And he's getting out the Ultralisk Cavern. Like you said, the 3-3 upgrade is going to be very, very useful. He's getting all the upgrades he needs to take a strong engagement. Oh my god!
Jeez!
Those Banelings just disappear under the Marine and Siege Tank fire.
So sick.
While there is going to be a bit of a cleanup over here for Jig, that was such a cost-efficient engagement for MaSa.
It really was. He's been all about the positioning this series, and this Hive, he made the Hive at the 3rd. This is a huge deal if he loses it because, well, at least he got the Ultra Cavern out, as well as his upgrades.
Locks down one Medivac.
Okay, well, at least he got his upgrades out, right? Like, Jig? It's just the fact that he lost the mining bases, man.
But yeah, he has an Ultralisk Cavern and no Ultras right now, Tempo. The Marines may be cleaned up over here, but there are so many Medivacs that these units can just easily pick up, get out of there. The Marines on the bottom side still getting some damage done or moving back in and saying, okay, you didn't try and retake your 3rd, right? Bailing drops going in and killing off 4 workers, but he needed something like 20 workers to make this look a little bit closer.
Yeah, this is a really, really rough spot for Jig. He's just trying to tech into Hive and these Ultras, but he doesn't have the resources. He doesn't have the income, and he's just making Lings because he just needs something, and that's all she wrote. MaSa with the aggression once again. The crazy tank positioning is just ridiculous, man. Both of those games, even though he got cleaned up, he did it in a really cost-efficient way with the sick economy. So, dang, son. This guy
MaSa's TVZ, man, is just so good. He's so good at taking, like you said, good positional engagements and just kind of pulling his opponent apart. Not even necessarily through like 4 different drop harassments or anything. It's usually just if he's attacking, it'll be like 1 drop and another drop, or like 1 big force and
big force. Yeah,
but they're always big. They're always big and scary forces that if you do not deal with them appropriately, they can actually almost end the game. And that's a really intimidating thought. Is that it's not just a single medevac drop, it's a double or triple medevac drop coming in that can kill off a Hive if I don't respond quickly.
Or just a weird one, like, you know, double cyclone, like
just finding the extra value. I think that's something that MaSa really does exceptionally well, much better than many other Terran players in the North American scene.
Indeed. So MaSa's gonna take that one 2-0. You know, he still got it. So, you know, it's one of those things where he's not falling off just yet. Yep.
I know he just joined OSC Elite, but maybe he should be joining the On Fire team.
Literally.
Twitter handle alongside, you know, Bly on Fire Scarlet, On Fire Neeb, On Fire No Regret. You need to join the ranks of those guys.
Jeez. He definitely lit Jig up that game, that's for sure, man. Damn.
But guys, that is going to be our 3 matches for today. That's Neeb versus Puck, Scarlet versus Suppy, and MaSa versus Jig. Please be sure to join us next time for Jon Snow versus Jim Rising, Semper versus Bioice, and Peely Peely versus Buster. These are all going to be the first round matches for Kings of the North.
Indeed. I'm very, very excited to see the rest of these matches. And then, of course, you know, just how the rest of the tournament progresses, because had a hell of a time on the last Kings of the North. And being able to see this all build up to that final LAN is really awesome. Something that you can follow, get behind. So got some really great players here. But I mean, out of today's games, Ravi, do you think anything really surprised you, or was there kind of expected?
I wouldn't say it was incredibly. I was incredibly surprised, but I think I was really excited and happy to see Puck take a game off of Neeb.
True.
And just all of those games looking like they could have been really close and could have gone either way. It really does give me a lot of hope because I know some people look at this tournament bracket and they say, well, Neeb, he's won 2 WCS events besides like Scarlet and maybe sometimes MaSa. If you're like, if you're not familiar with the North American scene, you just kind of sit there saying like, whoa, well, Neeb's just clearly going to win first place. Like nobody here can contend with him, but that's just been shown, I think, repeatedly to not be the case. We've seen obviously Scarlet be able to contend with Neeb. We've seen MaSa just be on fire and of course been able to contend with Neeb. And players like Puck, Jon Snow, Semper, Pili Pili, I think they actually do have a chance at maybe not necessarily be having an advantage versus Neeb, but they can take him out.
Yeah, I would say the same too. Really like some good games too. I definitely like that Puck Neeb series, and of course the
Scarlet
like
Suppy.
that went a little different than I thought. I didn't think it was gonna be like straight up her dominating. I'll be real, but as Protoss, I figured it'd be like a little bit of a struggle. But yeah, that's how the story grows, man. And there you have it. So until next time, which is when it is.
It'll be on Thursday, August.
Yeah, tomorrow, guys. Yeah.
Thursday, August 31st, I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if there's 31 days in August.
Yeah.
Yes, there are. Cool.
Yep. 30 days have September, April, June, and November.
But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to, of course, check out our sponsors and give them a little love. Let them know that we sent you. ES Champ, that puts on Kings of the North, of course. Sponsored by the one and only Chairs for Gaming. If you guys are interested in getting an awesome, cool chair like Tempo's or mine, then be sure to check them out and check out some of their cool deals. But of course, Asus ROG, the other one, Asus Republic of Gamers, provides a bunch of really awesome hardware. If you want to run StarCraft very smoothly, which let me tell you, Tempo, it is not easy to find a nice rig that runs StarCraft smoothly, but Asus ROG is a really nice hookup if you want to try and get that set up.
All right. Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Until we meet again, I am Tempo. My boy, Fear Dragon, and observing was Joe Laguitas. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Oh!